Okay, welcome to lesson 92, the real number system, lesson 92 of numbers and operations. So you can always pause to read through the objective and the vocabulary, some things you'll need. Okay, so let's talk about the real numbers. The real numbers include rational and irrational numbers. And so here at the top are some examples of irrational numbers. We just dealt with roots of non-perfect numbers in the last couple of lessons. Numbers that either terminate as decimals and you can make them fractions out of them. Numbers that do not end and do not repeat. So here are some more examples. And as we can see, square roots do not have an index, so we understand them to be square roots. The index is 2. All right. So classify the numbers into all of their categories. So we're just going to do with the highest number category that they can fit into. So we have negative 1/3, a square root of 6, negative 8/4, and then the square root of 100. Okay, so on the next page. Negative 1/3 is 0.33 repeating, and that is rational because it is a fraction or a decimal. The square root of 6. 6 is not a perfect number. It's not 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, so on and so forth. So this is irrational. It's irrational. Negative 8/4 gives us negative 2, which is an integer. And then the square root of 100, you get 10 and you get negative 10. You get 2 roots when you take the square root of a number, because negative 10 times negative 10 is a positive 100. And so this one would be whole. That's the highest category it fits into. It's also counting. And this one is an integer. And irrational numbers do not fit into rational numbers. They're their own separate category off to the side. But anything rational fits into all categories below it. So it's rational. Well, this decimal does not. But these whole numbers, they can go all the way up to rational or all the way back down to whole or counting, but not negative 2 because it's negative. The negatives make it an integer. Let's look at example 2. Find the midpoint between 2.3 and 2.4. All right, so the easiest way to do it is just add them up and then divide by 2. That's the easiest way to find midpoint. So when we say midpoint, we want 2.3 plus 2.4 divided by 2, which gives us 4.7 divided by 2. We know how to divide by 2, and we get 2.35. That is the midpoint. Easy enough. Okay, order from least to greatest. So when you see numbers like this, what you're going to want to do is put them into decimal forms. And remember, we want to go out to the thousands place and round to the thousands place. So negative 0.75. We're going to make that 750. 3.1415 becomes 3.142. 3 is just 3. The square root of 8 is negative 2.828. And we get negative 3. And 1.5. If you do 1 divided by 2 and add it to 1, you get 1.5. So now what we have to do is put these in order from smallest to biggest. So here we go. So negative 3 is the lowest. Then we get negative square root of 8. Then negative 3/4. Then positive 1.5. Then positive 3, then pi. Okay, so we converted them to decimals. We put them in their proper order. And with negatives, the larger you get, the further away from zero you get. So what you want to think about is, would you rather owe somebody $3 or $1.50? So the larger you get with negatives, the further away from zero and the less value the number has, or the smaller it is. Okay, so those are examples. I will see you at the end of the video for the recap. I will see you at the end of the video for the wrap up. Okay, so problem one, 3.2. Since it's a decimal, this is rational. All right, the square root of 36 divided by 2. Well, we know the square root of 36 is 6. When we divide that by 2, we get 3. So the smallest group it can go into is, this can actually go into counting numbers or natural numbers. And the smallest group it can go into, it can go all the way up to the highest, which is rational. Okay, the square root of 1.21. Is 1.1. 121 should be recognized as a perfect square, so that's rational. And then let's see, 10, 110, and then 1110. So these numbers do not repeat, they do not end because of the 3 dots, so this is irrational. Okay, problem 2. The midpoint. So what you're going to do is add the numbers plus negative 1.8. It gives us negative 3.5. Divide those by 2. And halfway between 35 is negative 1.75. Okay. We got negative 5.2, the square root of 3 is 1.732, negative 1.732. 5 divided by 8. Turn everything into decimals. 0.625. 2 1/4 is 2.25. E is 2.718, I believe, or yeah, 2.718. And this actually is 4 7/11. 7 divided by 11 becomes 636, 63 repeating. So 4.63. We'll just take the 63 as repeating. Okay, so we have two negatives. Negative 5.2 is the smallest. Then negative the square root of 3. And now we have 5/8. Then we have 2 1/4. E. And then finally 4 7/11. And that's how we do that one. So this was the final problem in our real numbers, distinguishing between rational and irrational numbers and lining up numbers in order. So thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, notify, share this with friends. I'll be seeing you in the next video.